Okay, here we are on lesson 17, drawing the coordinate plane and points on the plane. So today we're going to be talking about scale. And scale is a word that we've heard before, but if you maybe want to write yourself a note up at the top, remember scale, if you think back, is what you are counting by. Counting by on a number line. Alright, and I know some of you might say, well, we're not working with number lines anymore, we're working with graphs, but graphs are pretty much just like big, extravagant number lines. So, for the opening exercise here, it says, draw all necessary components of the coordinate plane on the blank 20 by 20 grid provided below, placing the origin at the center of the grid and letting each grid line represent one unit. So, first we need to figure out where to draw some of these lines. And draw them in orange so we can really see them. So it's a 20 by 20, so we need to go halfway. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is 10, so this is where your line's going to go down here for your y-axis. So go ahead and put that in on your paper. Make sure you put arrows at the end because it does go on forever. And on the sides we're going to have to count 10 as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And this is going to be our x-axis. Alright, so go ahead and label. This is the x-axis and the y-axis. And then it says each grid line is going to represent one unit. So we're going to use the example one at the bottom to locate and label these points on the grid above. Alright, and we're going to label them. I'm going to put some letters down here actually. A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. So, for A, we have 3, 2, so I'm going to count over 1, 2, 3, up 1, 2. This is A. Make sure you label them with letters. For B, we have 8, 4, so over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, this is B. C, we have negative 3, 8, so 1, 2, 3 to the left, down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it's going to be right down here. I'll leave my mark while I scroll down. That's C, and I'll do one more with you at D, which is negative 2, negative 9. So 1, 2 to the left, down. Oh, I put that one in the wrong spot. C is a positive 8. Just kidding. So it's negative 3 over 1, 2, 3, up 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is C, and I'll do one more with you guys. I'll do D, negative 2, negative 9. So we're going to go to the left 2, down 9, which will be down here, and this is G. Alright, I want you to pause and put E, F, and G on your grid, and then unpause and you can check your answers. Alright, so this is what your graph should look like. Alright, now if we answer this last question here, it says, can you name a point that would not be located on the grid? And then how could you change the grid so it could be on there? So you could pretty much pick just about anything that's bigger than 10. So we could have something like 11, 1. And then to get it on there, we would change our scale. Okay. So that's all we're going to do for that page. We're going to skip over to the next page now. Alright, so they gave us all these points, and now we need to figure out the scale. So we're going to figure out an x scale and a y scale. So before you do that, go ahead and go in and mark out your line so that the origin is right in the middle of the grid. So you're going to count halfway in again, count 10 in and 10 down, and then come back and check and make sure it looks just like mine does. Alright, so this is what your basic grid should look like, but now we need to determine our scale. So when we look at our x values up here, we've got some pretty small numbers that don't go any bigger than 10, so we could say that our x scale would probably be 1. I think that would work for us. But now our y scale, look at those numbers. We've got some pretty big numbers, but they're all divisible by 5, so we could do our y scale as 5. So our x is going to be the same, so we're not going to label that one, but let's go ahead and label the y's. So we would have 5, then 10, 15, 20, and you'd keep going all the way up. So go ahead and label your y scale. Okay, and then it would be negatives going down. So now we're going to plot these points, and I'm going to label them again. A, B, C, D, and E. So go ahead and put those plots, or those points on the graph, and then you can unpause and check your answers. Alright, so this is what your graph should look like with points A, B, C, D, and E. So just really have to make sure that you're counting slowly and carefully so you get them on the right point. Alright, but that's all we're going to do for this page, so go ahead and go on to the next page. And for this one, we're not going to plot the points, but we are just going to determine our scale here. So our x scale, if we're looking here at our x values, you can see that we're counting kind of by tenths. So our x scale can be 0.1 or 1/10. And then if we determine our y scale, we're looking and they're just all pretty small whole numbers, so we could probably just count by 1. Alright? So that's all we're going to do on that page. And then if you flip over to the last page, we're going to do the same thing, just determine the scale for the points that we have. So if we're looking at our x scale, alright, we do go a bit bigger than 10 now, so we might have to count by 2. So we're going to put our x scale as 2. And then our y scale, we're looking, we've got some halves in there, so how about our y scale? Should probably be counting by 0.5. Right, and again, if you pick the wrong scale and you plot the points and it just doesn't fit, then you can always go back and do it again. That happens all the time. Alright, so it'll just take practice to learn how to determine what your scale should be. But that's all we're going to do for this video, and then we'll just do some more practice in class.